International Trade Center Director Chu. They will brief us about the updates and take your questions. Now let's firstly give the floor to Mr. Ren. Thank you. Dear media friends, good morning. First of all, I would love to give my thanks to all of our friends for being here. In about a month's time, the 130th China Import and Export Fair will be inaugurated. On behalf of the Ministry of Commerce, I would love to thank all the media groups for your long-term support of the commercial events and your concern about this expo. So for the 130th fair, I would love to give you some information. As is known to all, this China Import and Export Fair is an important trade facilitation platform. It's coined as the barometer of China's international trade. In 1957, it has undergone about 60 years, and it has consistently received attention from the CPC Central Committee. And since this year marks the beginning year of the 14th five-year plan period, we kicked off the new undertaking of building a socialist country with Chinese characteristics, and we are confronted with complexities in the international environment and uncertainties in the economic recovery worldwide. So the 130th China Import and Export Fair to be staged in such circumstances is of special significance. It is also one key measure to consolidate our economic and social achievements. This fair will, for the first time, have a combination of online and offline presentation, and it's an important international trade activity. It's conducive to economic recovery in China and exhibiting the reform and open up policy in China. And it can also highlight the great achievements we have made. And secondly, this is an important platform to construct a new development landscape. For the first time, it is themed under double circulations. It will give further play to the online expositions with low cost and no interruption from the epidemic. And a lot of offshore buyers will join our online platform and give their orders. And for another, by resuming the offline exposition, we are gonna step up our support of the domestic buyers. So with the same bidding and same quality, such an offline exposition will help us to further cement our domestic market and dig into the domestic business opportunities that will help us to further cement our domestic new development landscape. Thirdly, this is going to be a new highland for our international trade. Last year, the State Council introduced the new opinion about international trade facilitation, encouraging a combination of online and offline expositions to innovate the forms of exposition. The 130th Fair will follow the steps of innovation to upgrade our online functionalities and organize more capable and promising and technical enterprises with more value addition. And we encourage enterprises to transform themselves to extend domestic markets and add more intelligence flavor into their products. To implement General Secretary Xi Jinping's instructions about epidemic control and in consideration of the requirements of epidemic prevention, the 130th Fair will be changed to only one phase, and the time is shortened to only 5 days. With online and offline presentation, there will be different categories. There will be about 400,000 square meters of offline exposition area. We will try to create the boutique pavilions for the enterprises. For online exposition, there will be 60,000 booths, and we will attract 260,000 enterprises from across the world with a platform for online exchange. Since this is the 130th fair, there will be an opening ceremony, and there will be Zhujiang Trade Forum to coincide with this fair. And in the opening ceremony, we call upon all staff members to abide by the rules of epidemic prevention and control, and we are also progressing ahead with publicity work. Now it's about a countdown of 30 days, and we're already on the sprint road. So, guided by the socialism with Chinese characteristics, in this new era, we will go all out to prepare for this fair, to ensure that this fair will be safe, orderly, innovative, efficient, and excellent. Last but not least, on behalf of the Ministry of Commerce, I sincerely welcome all of our business people to join the 130th China Import and Export Fair, online or offline, to share the Chinese business opportunities. And we're looking forward to meet you media friends in the golden season of October. Thank you for your remarks. Now let's give the floor to Governor Zhang Xin. Dear media friends, good morning. It's a real pleasure for me to be present in this presser, and I'd like to take this opportunity to pay my gratitude for the media friends for your long-term support and concern of the China Import and Export Fair and the International Economic and Trade Fairs in Guangdong. The State Council and CPC Central Committee decided to conduct this 130th fair online and offline here in Guangzhou, exhibiting the determination of the CPC Central Committee to strike a balance between economic and social development and epidemic prevention and control and open wider. This year marks the 100th anniversary of the CPC, and since this is already the 10th anniversary of this fair, it has surely attracted high attention from all circles of lives. Now, on behalf of Guangdong Provincial People's Government, I'd like to give you the updates about this fair. In the early stage, with the support of the central departments like the Health Commission and Ministry of Commerce, Guangdong has put in place a steering committee, and Provincial Party Secretary Li Xi serves as the head, and Governor Ma Xingrui is the first deputy head. And we have compiled a working plan for this fair. As to key events, business attraction, guest reception, and city services, we have put in place about 11 special committees with 72 key tasks in place. And for now, all these province has been all out to guarantee all service, and it's already in progress. Firstly, as to double circulations, we are assisting the domestic and overseas enterprises to consolidate their domestic market and to give full play to this platform and smooth away the double circulations. We have invited transnational companies, including the agents, branches, and buyers established in the Chinese borders, and foreign invested enterprises in China and transnational e-commerce enterprises to join our fair. And they will be at high level in large quantity and with high quality. So I think there will be promising sum of contracts to be signed, and they will locate their sought-after products, and they must grasp big business opportunities by joining hands with the high-quality partners. Secondly, epidemic prevention and control must be guaranteed so as to ensure a safe and orderly exposition. Epidemic prevention is the priority of this fair, and it is also the focal point of the society. Under the support of National Health Commission, we abide by the highest standards, and we have laid out a whole emergency plan called 1+8, +16, and +23. For the key prioritized groups, areas, sections, and places, we have come up with detailed measures, technical guidelines, and contingency plans. We have simultaneous prevention and control in terms of people, goods, and pavilions. We must safeguard our national borders, cities, venues, and the accommodation places. Third, we will take solid steps to offer services in the city and upgrade the overall environment in the city. Guangzhou City and its relevant departments are working together to optimize the city environment. As to city governance, we are reforming our city outlook so as to improve the appearances of the pavilions and the surroundings to ensure good environment, good sanitation, and smooth traffic. And as to public security, we organize different forces to have a screening and review of different sections of city operation. We want to guard off all of those potential hazards and improve our contingency plans. We must guarantee the bottom line to be safeguarded in terms of security, to ensure social harmony and stability. As to IPR protection and market supervision, we will enhance their protection and crack down upon the infringement to guarantee market order and the price order. As to catering and accommodation, we are going to urge the provincial hotels, the traveling agencies, and catering businesses to improve their service quality and prepare for all reception work so that our attendees will be satisfied. In the future, Guangdong Province will conform to the central requirements to offer first-class services for this fair in an effort to make the 130th fair a safe, orderly, innovative, efficient, and excellent fair. Finally, on behalf of Guangdong Provincial People's Government, I sincerely extend my welcome to all the media friends for interviews and coverage of this 130th China Import and Export Fair, and we welcome your suggestions. Thank you. Thank you, Governor Zhang Xin. Now we will open the floor to questions, and please identify yourself before raising the question. Please. From the CMG, my question is to Ren Hongbin. This fair has resumed offline exposition with a combination of two forms, online and offline. So, considering the overall situation, what will be the key features and highlights of this fair? I think it's better for my colleague from the Guangzhou Economic and Trade Center to take this question. Thank you for your attention to this fair, and it's a good question. For the 130th China Import and Export Fair, in its overall history, is a very extraordinary one. We believe this is going to be an international trade fair of a milestone significance. As you know, ever since the outbreak of COVID-19, China has one last big exposition that hasn't resumed offline presentation. That is the Import and Export Fair. So, finally, we've come to this day for this fair to be conducted both online and offline, which signals that all of the big fairs and expositions in China have come to normal, and that China has made strategic achievements in terms of epidemic prevention and control. We have carefully prepared for this fair. There will be highlights in this fair, and there are 6 features of it. First, themed under double circulations. For the first time in its history, this fair is themed under double circulations. And there will be double wheels of domestic and overseas markets. We would love to tap into the 2 markets, and through online platform, we are attracting the global buyers in order to ensure the number of orders and the market extension of Chinese businesses. And as to offline platform, there will be procurement representatives to be invited on site, and there will be series of activities themed under double circulations to assist the businesses to extend new marketplaces. Secondly, an integration of online and offline. For the first time, this fair assumes the new form of online and offline staging that blazes the new trail of online and offline convening. This fair has face-to-face communication offline, efficiently establishing mutual trust in their transactions. And in the meantime, the online fair will transcend beyond time and space to find new business opportunities and meet new clients. As required, this fair has upgraded its official website and developed the offline scenarios of application to divert the traffic offline. And also, we are optimizing services offline in the traditional customs clearance, IPR, and other serious affiliated trade services. This fair has added more, for example, warehousing and logistics. We have invited many enterprises in those fields to put in place an improved service chain. Thirdly, Mr. Ren has mentioned that during this fair, there will be the staging of the first Zhujiang International Trade Forum. That's the first time in its history to convene such a forum at a national level. In addition to the main session, this Pro-River International Trade Forum will have 3 sessions as well, inviting international guests present. So, the initiation of this forum will combine the buyers, the sellers, and the social circles to communicate more, and this forum is conducive to transmitting the spirit of negotiation, sharing, and co-construction. We will try to establish a new highland with our say, and we endeavor to contribute our wisdom to building a community of shared future with mankind as a whole. And fourth, there will be exhibition about village rejuvenation. To consolidate the achievements made of poverty alleviation, in this fair, online, we will continue a column about village rejuvenation, and offline, for the first time, we set up a special product exhibition about village rejuvenation, including food, luggages, and so on. We will try to smooth away the channels of the selling of those products to drive village rejuvenation. Fifth, we have shortened the period of this fair, but we are presenting the society with the high-quality fair, and we hope to create a brand for it. There will be 400,000 square meters offline with 7,500 businesses joining. In terms of the size, under the circumstance of the epidemic, this fair is still going to be the biggest offline fair worldwide. Under the epidemic circumstances, the China Import and Export Fair installed itself as the largest fair. And there will be an addition of 11,000 new brands, taking account for 61% of the total number offline. And there will be 20,000 booths offline, 2,200 brands with a high proportion of high-quality brands taking the booth. Particularly compared to before, the number of the high-quality businesses joining the fair is higher than before. So there will be excellent shows in the fair, and all the attendees will broaden their eyesight. 6 innovative products to be presented. Innovation will be the keyword for this fair. We have innovated the form of exposition through, for example, the combination of online and offline exposition, the combination of domestic trade and international trade, import and export. We endeavor to provide better services, more functionalities, and higher efficiencies. For another, we guide and encourage enterprises to innovate during this fair. We encourage enterprises to restructure and upgrade. There will be an uploading of 3 million products to be uploaded online, with a lot of new products. As I said, offline, there will also be an introduction of more new brands. We also have an award called the CF Award. New technologies, new materials, new techniques, new energy, smart technologies, green technologies, and environmental protection products will make their presence in this fair. For those winning products, they will reflect China's manufacturing level and China's international trade level. They are restructuring themselves. So it is fair to say that this will be an excellent fair offline and online, and it's worth expecting and participating. Thank you. Next question. From Guangdong Broadcasting and Television. It is mentioned that there will be the first Pearl River International Trade Forum during this fair, and what will be the highlights of this forum, and what's its role of promoting international trade? Thank you for your question. As has been mentioned, one of the highlights or the innovative points of this fair is about the first Pearl River International Trade Forum. Since this fair is an important trade facilitation platform to demonstrate the trade multilateralism position of China and to build open-oriented economy, China decided to co-organize the first Pearl River International Trade Forum with the Guangdong province. The theme of this forum is to offer new opportunities for economic and trade development, and to meet up the standards of high-level international fair, and to create an opportunity for the international business people to have more dialogues at high level. There will be 3 features of this forum. First, high level. The Pearl River International Trade Forum will have a main session and 3 subsessions. On the opening ceremony of October the 14th, it's going to be both the opening ceremony of the fair and the main session of the forum. By that time, there will be 600 domestic and international guests present offline. Meanwhile, we will connect internationally by inviting the key heads of states, the presidents of international organizations to give their keynote speeches, and over 100 business representatives will be online. For the 3 subsessions, they will be held in parallel in the afternoon of the 15th of October. The government leaders, experts, scholars from China and abroad will discuss the hot topics of international trade. The second feature is new topics. The 3 subsessions are themed under high-level openness, international trade, and innovation, the new models, and international cooperation of the Greater Bay Area. Now we are seeing fluctuations of international trade and investment. It's on a shrinking trend, and logistics is undermined as well. There will be a lot of uncertainties, bilateralism, protectionism, and the bully of the small countries are raging. To safeguard the multilateralism in trade and to innovate the models of international trade and serve the double circulations to support the new development landscape, we are considering how to have international cooperation. And I think to ensure the safety and resilience of international supply chain and production chain. Through the 3 subsessions, we will try to explore the win-win cooperation methods. Third, during the forum, we will meet with the industrial organizations and think tanks to convene a series of thematic pressers. For example, for the cross-border e-commerce platforms, we will upload the overseas logistics platform, and after the subsessions, we will compile a document to be transmitted. And we will try to enrich the topics of the sessions and extend our outcomes so that such a forum will be of high quality and will serve the international innovative development and recovery. Next question. Thank you. From Beijing News. There has been some sporadic cases in China, so is that a disturbance to this fair? And as you said, since this is the first time for the fair to be conducted online and offline, what will be the epidemic prevention and control measures to guarantee its safe convening? Thank you for your questions. That's a paramount issue. Guangdong province is an open province and a big province of international trade. We are also home to big ports. So with the epidemic still in the picture, to ensure the safety of this fair, we strictly implement the CPC Central Committee's requirements. We will curb import of cases and the rebound domestically. With the guidance of Ministry of Commerce and others, we have prepared delicately for the epidemic prevention work during this fair, and we will work on the following measures. First, we have comprehensively made a contingency plan. We have 1+8, +16, and +23 plan. 1 represents a master plan for epidemic prevention. 8 means 8 scenarios for our contingency plans. 16 means we have also made 16 guidelines for epidemic prevention, and 23 refers to 23 dedicated campaigns for epidemic prevention and control. In a word, we are going to leave no room of loophole of epidemic. Second, risk control. We have a tiered management mechanism with a combination of the status of this fair and conditions of all the buyers and sellers. For the outbound visitors, we will strictly manage them according to the rules. For those people coming from the mid-risk or high-risk places in China, they are not allowed to participate in this fair. We've noticed about the sporadic cases in China right now, and accordingly, we have our plans. In the future, we will stringently execute the requirements of epidemic prevention to ensure orderly progress of the business attraction. Third, for the key areas, we will prioritize our epidemic prevention. For example, nucleic acid testing. For all of those participants of the fair in Guangdong province, they must take their negative result of nucleic acid testing within the previous 48 hours. For the participants from outside of Guangdong province, they are required to do so. And upon arriving in Guangdong province, they must take another round of nucleic acid testing. For these participants within Guangdong province, we require them to take 2 times of nucleic acid testing within 3 days' time. And for all participants, once they enter the pavilions, they must show their negative result to the staff members. And for the key groups, there will be 1 test per day. And for the surrounding cities, we have established many testing stations. As to vaccination, in principle, we require all the participants to complete their vaccination procedure. As to health management, we will encourage the participants to manage themselves. In parallel, for vaccination, personal information, nucleic acid testing, they must be aligned. In terms of the venue management, according to the prevention and control measures, we will lay out the booth scientifically and streamline the people flow and vehicle flow to efficiently control the total number of people flow. Fourth, emergency response and disposal. We organize the medics and other social resources in the whole Guangdong province to offer on-site guidance, medical guarantee, and emergency response. We have prepared all of those materials. Now they are already in the delivery process, and we have a lot of drills to exercise the settlement methods. And during this fair, we will upgrade the regular epidemic prevention and control measures in Guangdong province, particularly targeting at the hospitals, the ports, to ensure overall safety of the city. And for the details of the epidemic prevention and control, we will publish them immediately to the public. Next question. From China News Service, to realize carbon peaking and carbon neutrality, it's already elevated to a strategic decision of the CPC Central Committee. And what will be the measures taken by this fair for that purpose? Thank you for your question. As is known to all, to hit the targets of carbon neutrality and carbon peaking, it's elevated to be a key strategic decision of the CPC Central Committee with Comrade Xi Jinping as the core. It's also a measure to realize sustainable, high-quality growth in China. Last September, General Secretary Xi Jinping, on the occasion of the 75th General Assembly of the United Nations, announced officially that China will have carbon peaking by 2030 and realize carbon neutrality by 2060. And last December, at a Central Economic Conference, the decision was made about carbon neutrality and carbon peaking, listed as one of the 8 key tasks. Ministry of Commerce put high premium on the 2 targets and took quick actions accordingly. We made it mandatory that the 2 targets will be incorporated into every factor of the commercial events and measures. And China Import and Export Fair, as an important trade facilitation platform, will certainly execute and observe the requirements of the national government. We encourage green development and better services towards the national strategies like carbon neutrality and peaking. In effect, in our previous practices, the China International Trade Center has already exercised the spirits of General Secretary Xi Jinping. Over the years, we have been exploring the ways of green exhibition, and since 2014, we have unveiled a green development plan of the China Import and Export Fair, and that plan has been updated with certain outcomes achieved. In the 130th China Import and Export Fair, serving the targets of carbon neutrality and carbon peaking is taken as a guiding principle of this fair. Green fair and green development of this fair are prioritized, and we've done the following work to that end. First and foremost, we invite more green and low-carbon products to be exhibited. We will extend the scope of wind power, solar power, biomass exposition. We have invited 70 dragon-head enterprises in those fields to exhibit over 150,000 products in the fields of energy conservation, low-carbon development, and environmental protection, in an effort to assist China's green industries to explore domestic and international markets. Secondly, the whole chain green development of this fair. We have set up an index system of green development of this fair with priority given to equipment upgrading to elevate the overall level of this fair. We champion and lead the way of green fair, green participation, green catering, green transportation. The new development concept of green development is penetrating into all the chains of this fair. Third, low-carbon examples in the booth. We have renovated our facilities offline to pursue low-carbon development. We once won awards from the US. It's a designing award. And we are the first fair in China to win such an award. On top of that, the Import and Export Fair will harness the technologies of low carbon and environmental protection to prepare for the 4 sessions of this fair. We will enhance the idea of green design and adopt low energy consumption facilities by saving water, energy, land usage. We will optimize the utilization of resources and reduce carbon emissions. Fourthly, to serve as a green example of all expositions, we have organized our years of experience, and we took the lead in China to set up those green booths with evaluation system and operational plan of the Green Fair. We also have basic requirements of safe management of those venues. Those 3 are already national plans and standards, and we have gone through 2 rounds of expert review for the 3 national standards. They are on their way to be published. And the 3 standards will complement green development and safe management of venues of the big national fairs and expositions. That is to say, the current criteria of fair right now is promising to become national criteria in the future. So, with the actual actions of Green China Import and Export Fair, we will try to lead industrial development and upgrading. We hope to boost the international competitiveness of all Chinese expositions and propel China to be a powerhouse in expositions. Next question. China Import and Export Fair is an important platform of international trade. So how would Guangdong Province to stabilize its foreign trade and innovate its trade development by taking this opportunity? Thank you for your question. One special feature of this fair is about double circulations and a combination of online and offline fairs. For Guangdong Province, in this new development era, we will also try to pivot towards new development landscape. Over the years, under the leadership of General Secretary Xi Jinping, Guangdong Province has been practicing the policies of stabilizing foreign trade. We would, right along with those opportunities like this fair, to stabilize the overall trade situation, particularly since this year. We have convened high-quality development conference of foreign trade and come up with a new plan of high-quality foreign trade development by introducing new forms of trade, digital trade, exhibition restructuring, Dragon Head Enterprises, the Greater Bay Area, customs clearance reform, and a trade innovation, constituting as 10 big trade projects, laying a solid foundation for trade development. In the first 8 months this year, Guangdong export and import registered 5.23 trillion RMB yuan, accounting for 21.1% of the national total. In the future, Guangdong will continue to execute the national plans and requirements to optimize our quality and restructure itself so as to pursue high-quality foreign trade development and contributing to the national campaign of building a big trade country. Now, we are aggressively open wider particularly about the pilot projects of the Greater Bay Area and Hengxin Qianhai districts. In Hengxin, Qianhai, Nansha districts, we endeavor to implement more trade facilitation policies to support all those trade factors to circulate freely. Second, we are aggressively developing new forms of foreign trade. For the digitalization of foreign trade, the cross-border e-commerce support and procurement, we have come up with many new policies to support the scale-up of new forms of trade and to hit the target of doubling the amount of trade in those new sectors in 10 years' time. Third, we give play to our market advantages so as to establish many foreign trade innovative demonstration parks, particularly about the high-end luxuries or agricultural products. We will establish a series of import products platforms and distribution centers. Fourth, under the guidance of the Ministry of Commerce, we are accelerating the development of the China Import and Export Fair by innovating the customs clearance modes, optimizing the domestic and foreign trade integration, establish the International Consumption City in Guangzhou. We aim to elevate the level of China Import and Export Fair and support double circulations. We hope to be the platform to bridge the two circulations. Next question.
谢谢主持人，南方都市报记者提问。目前也是受疫情的影响，然后国际
From Southern Urban Daily, because of the epidemic, when the international traveling is still undermined, overseas procurement is difficult. So, what will be the new measures in this fair?
好，这个问题我来回答。谢谢你的提问，这个问题很专业啊。
It's a professional question.
采购商邀请是广交会的重点，也是难点和挑战。在当
The
前
procurer's
防控仍然
invitation is challenging.
很多不确定性的大背景下，特别是
There are
国际
uncertainties in terms of the
在
pandemic,
国上国内也是多
particularly the international transmission of the pandemic globally and sporadic outbreak of the epidemic within the Chinese borders. So we will observe the principles of precise services, precise requirements,
线下并
and precise marketing. Online and offline platforms,
多措并举，
old
加大
and
境内
new
外
clients
采购商
will
邀请力度，
be
提升采购商
combined
邀请
together.
针对性、务实性和有
We
效
will
性。
take more targeted measures and practical measures to invite the
采购
procurers.
商以线上参会为主。
First, for overseas purchasers, they will mainly join us through online platform.
和
We have a
采购商
global
集体化
partner
为
plan
抓手，
and
综合运用
purchaser
各类营销渠道
incentivizing
开
plan.
展全球
We
招商，
utilize different channels to have global procurement and business attraction. We endeavor to maintain the heat of this fair and optimize the structure.
在华境外采购商
We also actively
在华
invite
外资
those
企业境外工商
overseas
机构
purchasers
和企业
now
驻华代表
cited
及在华
in
的
China
外国商会
and transnational companies' representatives in China
线下参与
and the
参会
agencies of those overseas purchasers
非常重要
to participate
它是
in our
根据
fair
当前
offline.
国际贸易
This is a paramount policy.
特点的变化和中国对外
Along
开放
with the
程度的
changes
变
of international
做出了
trade
一个
and China's openness
有针对
policy,
性的
we take such a targeted measure of precise business attraction.
在多年以
As you
前
know,
只
years
有
ago,
外国人到中国来买的物品下的订单才是出口，
Only when the foreigners come to China to give their orders will the products be taken as exported products. But now, the model changed. For one thing, the overseas businesses and agencies have a lot of agencies in China and branches. Their agencies and branches may give their orders in China, and those orders will also be taken as export. And secondly, since China opens wider to the outside world, the development of cross-border e-commerce and the development of the foreign trade companies in China, particularly the overseas investors established a lot of foreign invested enterprises in China. They can all give orders and then export the products overseas. Those are the new features of international trade. And accordingly, we readjusted our business attraction strategy. The purchasers overseas will mainly come through the online platform, but we also invite their agencies or branches residing now in China to participate offline. We will also have marketing and sales campaigns through new media forms. We take use of the well-known international new media groups to attract more flow. We will divide the clients into different interest groups to tell good stories of the fair. We will increase the coverage of our activities. In 40 countries and regions, we will hold 52 cloud matchmaking activities. We will choose the key partner countries, the BRI countries, RCEP members, as the key markets for our cloud recommendation. And such recommendation covers 5 continents. We will also have targeted invitations through the email forms to enhance the theme-based design. For the purchasers from 220 countries, we will offer clear guidance for their participation online and offline. We will also elevate our service level. For the famous transnational purchasers, we will also offer dedicated venues for them, particularly their trade matchmaking practices. We will have incentivization methods for those purchasers. We are also working with Guangdong City to offer preferential treatment in terms of their traveling, their accommodation, and catering services. And for the high-end clients, we will offer notification of information to improve their experience of this fair. Another measure is for the offline exposition, we will mainly invite domestic purchasers. For the overseas purchasers, their agencies, branches, the e-commerce platforms will be present instead. So the double circulations will be boosted together. In the 130th fair, we will open the window for the invitation of domestic purchasers. That's the first time. For the domestic enterprises meeting our criteria, we will invite them, particularly for the big supermarkets, the franchise retail businesses, wholesale businesses, e-commerce, supply chain management enterprises, industrial associations, and organizations. They will be invited. And we will also have business promotion activities together with Guangdong Provincial Commercial Bureaus. We will pay visit to different provinces in China to promote this fair, and we will give play to the industrial organizations to invite more purchasers in China to participate in our fair. And there will be thematic activities about double circulations. This fair will be a bridge for double circulation development, and it's a multifunctional platform. The double circulations will promote domestic purchasers and their partners to kick off their matchmaking plan to better serve the foreign trade innovative development. We will also optimize the services in the fair, and we will also conduct training and education. There will be incentives. For example, domestic partners plan, the group of purchasers plan. The key purchasers will have free certification services and other activities to encourage more high-quality domestic purchasers to be present in this fair. There will be pre-application, pre-review, pre-certificate. The whole system will be online, and there will be more convenience to the domestic purchasers. Next question, please, and also the last question. From the Phoenix TV. My question is about foreign trade development. In the first 8 months of this year, the foreign trade increased by 23.7% year-on-year. In August alone, it's a record high. So, what's going to be the future of foreign trade, according to Ministry of Commerce? Thank you for your question. Since today we are talking about the fair and its 3 platforms. One is the platform for open up, second for international cooperation, and third a platform of double circulations. So, serving as the 3 platforms, foreign trade is a keyword. Before the China Import and Export Fair every year, we will have a questionnaire to be sent to those participants. This year, the pandemic is plaguing worldwide, sending repercussions globally. But China's foreign trade is resilient, recovering from the bottom, and is steady. In August, it's about 23 trillion RMB yuan, and 23.7% higher year-on-year. That's also a record, helping the stabilization of national economy. With the complexities of global epidemic and economic and trade development, such an extraordinary achievement is hard-won. Under the leadership of the CPC Central Committee, we have effectively controlled the epidemic, stabilized the supply chain and production chain in China, enhanced communication and exchanges of trade, and cooperated overseas in terms of vaccination, meeting the international market demand, triggering the steady recovery of the global economy. That is a manifestation of the fact that the vast trade enterprises in China are pioneering and innovative, and China's trade is strong and resilient. There are still 3 months ahead before the end of this year. We have more confidence about international trade this year. We will hit the target of trade development this year, but we must be calm-headed and avoid being complacent. According to the results of the questionnaires, for one thing, the macro numbers are shooting high, but at the same time, we must pay attention to the risks and challenges faced by the micro players. The trade development is still faced with a lot of uncertainties, imbalance, and instabilities, particularly about the uncertainties in the international market. This year, because of the rebound of the epidemic, now the weekly increase of the cases are still higher than 4.5 million worldwide, and world economic recovery is uncertain as well. And the dividend of trade-supported economic recovery may be receding. According to the survey, the foreign trade enterprises orders are declining in number. And secondly, global supply chain is facing uncertainties as well. Because of the influence of the Delta virus, some of the countries are having a shutdown of their factories. A lot of intermediaries, like chips, have suspended their production, hampering the supply chain logistics development. Meanwhile, some countries are politicizing their trade issue. That increases the risks for the trade enterprises and the supply chain businesses. Third, there has been a divergence of the enterprises. For example, for the new markets, their driving force is less than the established markets. According to the international report, the developed economy increased by 0.5%, but for the emerging and developing economy, their growth ratio was lower down according to the forecast. Second, the small trade enterprises development is less than the big enterprises. According to the PMI data, for the big trade enterprises, their PMI index ratio is much higher than the mid and small-sized trade enterprises. For the mid and downstream enterprises, their profit-making capability is also worse than the upstream enterprises. For example, for the oil and the chemistry enterprises in the upstream, they have good development situation, but for the downstream enterprises like textile, the agricultural product processing enterprises, their profit-making capability and their growth ratio are much lower. Those factors will also undermine the competitiveness of the trade enterprises. And according to the investigation now for the SMEs, they are facing higher pressure on their operation. In addition to the above-mentioned difficulties, there is high cost of the logistics overseas. Now, the cost of the maritime freight transportation is much higher. That's almost 6 times more than the same time last year, particularly if they want to visit West America or Europe. According to some enterprises, the export freight is even higher than the total value of the commodities. So many of those enterprises are unable to take the orders. And for some other products, they are just kept in the warehouses and unable to be delivered. Second, raw materials price is rocketing. PPI increased by 9.5% in August, and for production materials, they also increased for 8 months in a row. So, edging away the profits of the small and medium-sized trade enterprises. In the future, Ministry of Commerce will continue to execute the policies at national level to serve the new development landscape. Stabilizing development and innovative development will be prioritized. We will pay close attention to the changes of the international market and the development situation of the market players. We will enhance our risk aversion capability so that the foreign trade development will be anti-cyclical and steady. For the targeted measures and particularly supportive measures for the SMEs, we will highlight them. And secondly, we will participate in regional multilateral trade plans to support multilateralism. Third, BRI development will be prioritized. We will sign trade facilitation working group agreements with more countries. Fourth, we will keep supporting the cross-border e-commerce, overseas procurement, and some new models of trade development plans. Fifth, convene the China Import and Export Fair and other key trade platforms to share the business opportunities in China with international partners and trigger the international trade to recover at an early date. I'd like to thank the media friends for your long-term support of China's trade again. Thank you all media friends. This is the end of today's presser. Thank you.